the salvation of the world. I came for the salvation of the world. Here is a thought that all arrogance has been removed and only truth remains. For arrogance opposes truth, for arrogance opposes truth. But when there is no arrogance, the truth will come immediately and fill up the space the ego left unoccupied by lies. Only the ego can be limited and therefore must seek for aims which are curtailed and limiting. The ego thinks that what one gains, totality must lose. Yet it is the will of God. I learn what one gains is given unto all. And yet it is the will of God. I learn that what one gains is given unto all. I came for the salvation of the world. I came for the salvation of the world. Father, your will is total. Father, your will is total. And the goal which stems from it shares its totality. What aim but the salvation of the world could you have given me? What aim but the salvation of the world could you have given me? And what but this could be the will myself has shared with you? I came for the salvation of the world. I came for the salvation of the world. I came for the salvation of the world. You know what? Now, if some people would hear that and they would say, well, you sure are arrogant to think that you can save the world, that you came for the salvation of the world. Oh, how holy are you? You are so arrogant. Well, look what Jesus says on this lesson. To me, it amazes me. He starts off the very first sentence, says, here is a thought that all arrogance has been removed and only truth remains. And I'm Forgiveness Willie, miracle and forgiveness teacher here in the Ozarks. And I'm glad you've come to listen to me to maybe share a little bit about my journey and our joint journey of the manifestation of the Christ on planet Earth, and how we can really bring today the answer to the prayer, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So let's learn A Course in Miracles so that we that are following that particular way in the universal curriculum, there's lots of different ways, this is just one. Let's make sure that we do our part and spread the love so that others, remember, we're the means and the end of salvation, as we learned yesterday. Salvation's means and end are one in me, in you. Anyway, today I came for the salvation of the world. And let's see, today is, this is lesson 319 we're studying. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles this year. And it's Thursday, November the 14th of 2024. And I noticed that blackjack tree behind me still had some leaves that are green around the top of it. You know, the oaks are, they've all mainly turning. There's still some that are green. Oh, no, that one just kind of caught my attention. It's a blackjack, not real high quality lumber in blackjack oak. It's Quercus rubra. Blackjack is its. I expect it's I think it's just Quercus rubra. There may be a different. I didn't look it up. I should have probably. But I sat down right here and I thought, well, nice looking blackjack tree behind me. We usually cut those for firewood around here, but it's doing just fine where it's at. Okay, let's see. I came for the salvation of the world. Again, thank you so much for joining me in saving the world. Saving the world from fear so that love can come on the scene again and heal the planet, heal each of us. I came for the salvation of the world. Here is a thought from which all arrogance has been removed and only truth remains, for arrogance opposes truth. But when there is no arrogance, the truth will come immediately and fill up the space the ego left unoccupied by lies. Only the ego can be limited, and therefore it must seek for aims which are curtailed and limiting. The ego thinks that what one gains, totality must lose. And yet it is the will of God, I learned, that what one gains is given unto all. Wow, catch that. And yet it is the will of God, I learn, that what one gains is given unto all. Father, your will is total, and the goal which stems from it shares its totality. What aim but the salvation of the world could you have given me? And what but this could be the will myself has shared with you? Wow, there's nothing more important than the salvation of the world, and you among them. You know, you don't see others. You don't want to be an unhealed healer. Of course, I suppose an unhealed healer is better than no healer. But we want to all be healed healers. So we want to accept salvation for ourselves and share it with others. And the simplest answer what salvation is forgiveness is the key to happiness. We talked about that yesterday. Forgiveness. That's how we begin to free ourselves from all of those judgments we've been making to navigate with. Now we're learning just to listen to the voice within and follow the peace that God is always giving us. Okay, our associated reading, what is the last judgment? Christ's second coming gives the Son of God this gift, to hear the voice for God proclaim that what is false, and what is true has never changed. This the judgment is in which perception ends. At first you see a world that has accepted this as true, projected from a now corrected mind. And with this holy sight, perception gives a silent blessing and then disappears. Its goal accomplished and its mission done. The final judgment on the world contains no condemnation, for it sees the world as totally forgiven, without sin and wholly purposeless, without a cause and now without a function in Christ's sight. It merely slips away to nothingness. There it was born, and there it ends as well. And all the figures in the dream in which the world began go with it. Bodies now are useless and will therefore fade away because the Son of God is limitless. You who believed that God's last judgment would condemn the world to hell along with you, accept this holy truth. God's judgment is the gift of the correction He bestowed on all your errors, freeing you from them and all effects they ever seem to have. To fear God's saving grace is but to fear complete release from suffering, return to peace, security, and happiness, and union with your own identity. God's final judgment is as merciful as every step in His appointed plan to bless His Son and call Him to return to the eternal peace He shares with Him. Be not afraid of love, for it alone can heal all sorrow, wipe away all tears, and gently waken from his dream of pain the Son whom God acknowledges as His. Be not afraid of this. Salvation asks you give it welcome, and the world awaits your glad acceptance, which will set it free. This is God's final judgment. You are still my holy son, forever innocent, forever loving, and forever loved, as limitless as your Creator, and completely changeless and forever pure. Therefore awaken and return to me. I am your Father, and you are my son. Okay, well, let's go back and look at our Manual for Teachers reading in number 22, How Are Healing and Atonement Related? And we left off ready for paragraph 5, but let's go read paragraph 4 again. And of course, take along with you all day today. I came for what? The salvation of the world. I came for the salvation of the world. Let's be about our Father's business and make sure that we actually are looking for ways to spread the love so that our brothers and sisters can be as happy as we are. And hopefully we're happy. Okay, paragraph 4. In How Are Healing and Atonement Related? Remember that very first sentence. Healing and atonement are not related. They are identical. There is no order of difficulty in miracles because there is no degrees of atonement. It is the one complete concept possible in this world because it is the source of a wholly unified perception. But let's jump down to paragraph 4. Certainly sickness does not appear to be a decision. You know, people say, well, I didn't decide I wanted to have cancer or whatever their problem is. And it doesn't seem like, but we've got to remember the mind and the mechanism of decision is the only cause of everything that you see. So that's why we want to spend those quiet times so that we can become more aware of what we're thinking at a more subtle level, because those subtle thoughts are affecting the world. They're making everything you see. So we need to be aware of what we're thinking. And if we don't like it, we need to change our mind. The most powerful thing we can change is our thoughts. Think not what you can do to change the world, but think what you can do to change your thoughts about the world, and the whole world changes. Certainly sickness does not appear to be a decision, nor would anyone actually believe he wants to be sick. Perhaps he can accept the idea in theory, but it is rarely, if ever, consistently applied to all specific forms of sickness, both in the individual's perception of himself and of all others as well. Nor is it at this level that the teacher of God calls forth the miracle of healing. He overlooks the mind and body, seeing only the face of Christ shining in front of him, correcting all mistakes and healing all perception. He overlooks the mind and body. So you don't actually, we see what he says is that, let's go back and look at it. Perhaps he can't accept the idea in theory that the mind is the source of sickness, but it is rarely, if ever, consistently applied to all specific forms of sickness, both in the individual's perception of himself and of all others as well. Nor is it at this level that the teacher of God calls forth the miracle of healing. So what level does he call it? In other words, you could go back to the thoughts in the mind and work with them there. But he's saying that that's really not the level that we work with it at. He's saying he overlooks the mind and body, seeing only the face of Christ, shining in front of him, correcting all mistakes, and healing all perception. So what we want to do is be really good at entering into the holy instant where we see the face of Christ, and let that backwash the system and clean it of all the debris. Oh, there might be things that you see and you get an aha moment and realize that you had a thought, like you didn't want to work very much, maybe, so you had a tendency of finding yourself getting sick a lot, so you had a good excuse to not be sick. Well, so all of a sudden you realize, well, I don't need to be bringing sickness on me. Maybe I just need to get a new job that I like or something. You know what I'm saying? You get those revelations as you go, and that's going to happen. But it's the face of Christ that ends up letting us see a forgiven world and a world where there's perfection. And that's what he wants us to really get good at, is bathing in the rays of Christ. He overlooks the mind and body, seeing only the face of Christ shining in front of him, correcting all mistakes and healing all perception. Healing is the result of the recognition by God's teacher of who it is that is in need of healing. This recognition has no special reference. It is true of all things that God created. In it are all illusions healed. Paragraph 5. When a teacher of God fails to heal, it is because he has forgotten who he is. Isn't that something? He forgot his reality, his identity. When a teacher of God fails to heal, it is because he has forgotten who he is. Another's sickness thus becomes his own. In allowing this to happen, he has identified with another's ego and has thus confused him with a body. In so doing, he has refused to accept the atonement for himself and can hardly offer it to his brother in Christ's name. He will, in fact, be unable to recognize his brother at all, for his Father did not create bodies, and so he is seeing in his brother only the unreal. Mistakes do not correct mistakes, and distorted perception does not heal. Step back now, teacher of God. You have been wrong. Lead not the way, for you have lost it. Turn quickly to your teacher and let yourself be healed. Remember, I told you, whenever you notice yourself being upset or discouraged in any way, even the faintest little irritation, stop quickly and ask for help. Enter into the silence. So that paragraph begins by saying, when a teacher of God fails to heal, it is because he has forgotten who he is. And that the last sentence says, lead not the way. You have lost it. Turn quickly to your teacher. Let yourself be healed. Then paragraph 6. The offer of atonement is universal. It is equally applicable to all individuals in all circumstances. And in it is the power to heal all individuals of all forms of sickness. Not to believe this is to be unfair to God and thus unfaithful to him. So, the offer of atonement is universal. It is equally applicable to all individuals in all circumstances, and in it is the power to heal all individuals of all forms of sickness. Not to believe this is to be unfair to God and thus unfaithful to him. A sick person perceives himself as separate from God. Would you see him as separate from you? It is your task to heal the sense of separation that has made him sick. It is your function to recognize for him that what he believes about himself is not the truth. It is your forgiveness that must show him this. Healing is very simple. Atonement is received and offered. Having been received, it must be accepted. It is in the receiving then that healing lies. All else must follow from this single purpose. And then our last paragraph to finish this section, 7. Who can limit the power of God himself? Who then can say which one can be healed of what, and what must remain beyond God's power to forgive? This is insanity indeed. It is not up to God's teachers to set limits upon him, because it is not up to them to judge his Son. And to judge his Son is to limit his Father. Both are equally meaningless. What are both equally meaningless? To judge God's Son and to put limits on God the Father. and to judge his son is to limit his father. Both are equally meaningless. Yet this will not be understood until God's teacher recognizes that they are the same mistake. Remember, we need to learn to see God in our brothers and sisters, that there's a oneness in our brothers and sisters, and that's where God is, the limitless God. Herein does he receive atonement, for he withdraws his judgment from the Son of God, accepting him as God created him. Wow. Even though we might have initially seen them as sick, we're going to withdraw that judgment and see that they're perfect in God and that they can't be sick. That's their reality. It's the illusion that sees them as sick, and the illusion will pass away because it's not real. No longer does he stand apart from God, determining where healing should be given and where it should be withheld. Now can he say with God, "This is my beloved Son, created perfect and forever so." So we want to start seeing our brothers use forgiveness to restore our erring sight and see our brothers as one with God, along with one with us, along with love, with perfection, with beauty. Okay, let's see what's going on around the world today. Of course, it's Lesson 319 day for us. I came for the salvation of the world. And then in holidays and observances, it's Girls' Day, Guinness World Record Day, Selfie Day, Loosen Up, Lighten Up Day, Loosen Up and Lighten Up Day. That sounds like something that we all ought to be doing a lot of. American Teddy Bear Day, Family PJ Day. I guess today's the day to walk around in your PJs, huh? Guacamole Day, made from avocado, your Persea Americana. And you know, they don't go much below frost before they're hurt. So they're more of a, I think I saw they grow in zones 4 through 11, the avocado. Zone 4 though, wow, that's pretty cold. I'm not sure about that. It's what it said, but I was noticing that they can, certain varieties can get down to about 27 degrees. I'm kind of hoping they find one that can grow in some really cold, that we work with them and eventually get them to where they can withstand frost, and we can grow them here in the Ozarks. I'd love to be able to grow avocados. Anyway, that may be a ways off, but we can begin to work at that as plant breeders, and we can have a goal in mind that we can pass on to our kids, and that's been my dream with great big old gourds that people could live in. They make these great big old 2,000-pound pumpkins. Why not make a great big old gourd that you cut windows and doors in and make it a house? Anyway, just a matter of time. Just keep breeding them up. Okay, Pickle Day, the cucumber, the Cucumis sativus. So today is Pickle Day. Operating Room Nurse Day. Thank you, operating room nurses. Spirit of NSA Day, which is a National Speakers Association. World Diabetes Day, World Liability Day, and World Qualify Day. World Qualify? Did I say? No, World Quality Day and World Quality. I'm not even sure what that means. I probably should have looked that one up. But I guess we're making our world have a better quality to it by practicing forgiveness, huh? I did want to say World Diabetes Day. They're starting to know now that diabetes, type 2 diabetes, is, a lot of people are like McDougall and a lot of those guys that are on the plant-based diet, they're calling type 2 diabetes processed food disease. So it tends to be a product of more affluent societies that have gotten away from your fiber-rich foods and more whole foods. Okay, let's see. And out of Seed Savers Exchange, we've got another kale, another Brassica oleracea, and it's a scarlet kale. Remarkably attractive kale with red-veined, frilly, tightly curled leaves. Scarlet is a vigorous performer with good cold tolerance. Begin harvesting leaves when young and allow plant to grow well into the early winter. 24 to 36 inch tall and 24 inches wide. 60 days from transplant. The scarlet kale. Okay, well, be sure to go about doing your Father's business. And His business, He really wants you to go into those quiet times and take an early morning quiet time and a late evening quiet time. And just sit in His presence and observe your thoughts. See the face of Christ. And let it change your whole world. And then every hour of the day, be sure to stop, give thanks, and ask for guidance. Today, tell yourself, I came for the salvation of the world. I came for the salvation of the world. Here is a thought that all arrogance has been removed and only truth remains. Here is a thought that all arrogance has been removed and only truth remains. For arrogance opposes truth. For arrogance opposes truth. But when there is no arrogance, the truth will come immediately and fill up the space the ego left unoccupied by lies. Only the ego can be limited and therefore must seek for aims. Seeks for aims which are curtailed and limiting. The ego thinks that what one gains totality must lose. And yet it is the will of God. I learned that what one gains is given unto all. And yet it is the will of God. I learned that what one gains is given unto all. And yet it is the will of God. I learned that what one gains is given unto all. I came for the salvation of the world. I came for the salvation of the world. Father, your will is total. Father, your will is total. And the goal which stems from it shares its totality. What aim but salvation of the world could you have given me? What aim but the salvation of the world could you have given me? And what but this could be the will myself has shared with you? I came for the salvation of the world. I came for the salvation of the world. Here is the thought that all arrogance has been removed and only the truth remains. For arrogance opposes truth. Well, be humble and practice today's lesson then. I came for the salvation of the world. And our word for peace is out of the Mingo language, which is a Cayuga Seneca group of tribal people. They were in the northeastern United States, in the area where New York over to Ohio is today. And the word is sicken. S-K-N, sicken. I came for the salvation of the world. Peace be with you, sicken be with you. I came for the salvation of the world. Sicken.